SML movie, Jeffy's Cereal Prize. Jeffy opens the video with a bell that will let his parents know he pooped. Marvin protests because Jeffy is 18, and in response, Jeffy does the very reasonable thing of pooping and then smacking his diaper while saying, F yeah. A commercial for Honey Nut Cheerios states that you can get a pair of shoes in a box of Honey Nut Cheerios. Jeffy wants to buy a lot of boxes of Cheerios, and Marvin states the odds of winning is not reasonable. Jeffy, unable to deal with this, goes and steals Marvin's wallet and buys out the Honey Nut Cheerios. $2,000 on Cheerios. He begins to empty out the food to look for them. Marvin is obviously startled and knows what this means, seeing all the Cheerios piled up. Marvin takes Jeffy to talk to Rose to hear about the absurdity of what has happened. Jeffy says what happened, and Rose again kind of sides with him and downplays what happened. She acknowledges it's shocking, but doesn't seem to understand the full scope of what has happened. Jeffy goes to school the next day. Bully is happy that Jeffy is upset, so Jeffy responds, but not in his usual attitude, and just sadly flips over Bully's table. Jeffy sees that PJ Crenshaw has the Cheerios shoes and asks what he can do to get the shoes. Jeffy trades his helmet for the shoes. Marvin is obviously wondering how Jeffy got the shoes based on all the effort Jeffy went through to get them previously. Marvin calls Target to get in-store credit. Brooklyn guy shows up and asks what's happened. The typical policy is not to have items open. Have them as they were before the purchase. Brooklyn guy has always been reasonable and points out that it wouldn't make sense to give Marvin $2,000 in store credit for product that he couldn't sell because it was dumped out and they didn't get the shoes they wanted, despite them not being guaranteed in any of the boxes of Cheerios. As it turns out, the shoes are estimated to be worth about $10,000. Marvin doesn't tell Brooklyn guy about the shoes at first because of an older episode when he had a lottery ticket and Brooklyn guy tried to take it. A good callback. Love when they tell old stories and sort of mix it in to a sort of continuity, if you would say. Marvin is excited when he hears that Brooklyn guy would be willing to buy the shoes for that price, and as such, tells Brooklyn guy that Jeffy has them. However, upon going to Jeffy, it is found out that Jeffy traded them back, ruining his chances of making fat stacks of cash. Jeffy rings the bell for him pooping, which is the wonderful crap cherry on top of it all at the end of it. So, of course, what did I think of the episode? Well, I would give the episode a 4.5 out of 10. The main reason, of course, is for a few reasons. It's slightly below average. People seem to think that a 4.5 is terrible, or people tend to overestimate their rating systems, and I think it's important to note that, because sometimes I've seen some comments about that. And with that being said, 5 out of 10 is not bad by any means. Being average is not bad by any means. I think we have to understand what it actually means to be a 6 out of 10 video or above. Is that you're better than the average video, okay? That doesn't mean necessarily that it's bad to be a 5 out of 10. But when people, I often see them rate things as like 8 out of 10s, 9 out of 10s. And you can't have a billion 8s and 9s. It's just not possible. Because then it dilutes the original value of what a 7 out of 10 or 8 out of 10 or 9 out of 10 value video actually is. Because anything above 5, again, is above average already, which means it's already better than normal. And normal is not bad by any means. There's plenty of normal things I enjoy. For example, I enjoy a normal cheeseburger at McDonald's. I would say that's an average fast food sandwich. And that's not bad at all, because I'll smash that thing down real quick. I will eat that thing real quick. So, with that being said, the reason this is slightly below average, and by the way, it's not a terrible video, but the reason is because the trope of Jeffy acting really dumb and then Marvin getting really angry has been done to death in so many videos. It's been played out over and over again, and it just kind of gets old at some point where it's just like, I'd like a little more variety, so that way I'm not just sitting here being like, oh, here we go again. Of course, Brooklyn Guy is usually the star of these videos, mainly because he's just so reasonable on pretty much all his approaches. He doesn't just tend to shut off his brain for the sake of the plot, which is something I'm not a big fan of. I don't like when stories take a character and make them act completely out of what they would normally do. You can have a character for that, which is, for example, Jeffy. Jeffy's role is to kind of be silly and goofy, right? That's like pretty much his whole character, especially early Jeffy, which was insufferable in so many ways. So having a character of reason like Brooklyn Guy helps a lot, because we have to understand that if everybody acts like an idiot, then it's just like everybody feels the same. We're all different paints, different colors of stupid, and that's not a lot of variety in characters. So we need something different than that. They can't all be the dumb character. You get what I'm saying? And also, just when you set a precedent, people begin to expect a character to be a certain way. So when that doesn't match, the viewer goes, well, what the heck is going on here? So, of course, just seeing the general premise of it, it was okay. It was Cheerios, which makes sense. It's in character for Jeffy to be obsessed with Cheerios. So I'm not upset that Jeffy wanted Cheerios. In fact, it makes sense that Jeffy would go to such lengths, because if you've ever seen the old videos where Jeffy had kids with a Cheerio box, you understand how much Jeffy actually loves Cheerios. It's actually kind of surprising to me that they didn't have Jeffy like commit several felonies to get that box of Cheerios, to be perfectly frank with you. Marvin wasn't an idiot as far as just sitting there and going along with whatever, which makes sense. Rose, although, is like a grade A enabler. Even when she heard it and she was like, Jeffy, she still didn't seem to really mind it. It's like, in Rose's eyes, Jeffy is the perennial good boy, and whatever he does, oh, well, don't worry, kids will be kids. The only problem with that is Jeffy's 18, and as long as Rose has that mentality, then it almost acts as a get out of jail free card, because no matter how mad Marvin gets, Jeffy knows he can just go to Rose as a sort of shield that can be put up to block any attempt of Marvin trying to discipline him. And Marvin's discipline isn't exactly good. He just smacks the crap out of Jeffy. So, I don't know. Again, just 4.5 out of 10. I would like a little more variety of the characters. They're starting to feel kind of one-dimensional, except for like Brooklyn Guy and stuff like that. But some of the characters just feel one-dimensional. Take Jonathan, for example. His whole stick is being a weird loner pervert. Anyways, thanks for watching, guys.